Hi, I'm Amanda Cole, Chief Marketing Officer at Bloomreach. This is Bloomreach's Marketers on Marketers, conversations between marketing leaders about what's actually changing in our profession. I'm joined today by Barb Mosher Zinck from Diginomica. I'm talking to CMOs every week, and I'm hearing two completely different narratives. Half are saying AI is transforming everything. We're restructuring our entire team. I might be in that half. The other half are saying, we tried some tools, it's mostly hype. We're waiting to see what sticks.
Agreed, but I think there's also a middle part, and those are the people that want to do it, and they really don't know how to get started.
We wanted to start the series with a real question we're hearing everywhere. Is AI fundamentally changing marketing, or is it mostly noise?
I think it has the potential to, but I think we're still trying to figure out what that means for marketing. Are we just going to AI enable the skills and the processes that we have today, or are we actually going to really change how marketing works? And I'll give you a good example. I'm working with a client. It's a very small marketing team. They have like almost zero budget. And what we're trying to figure out is how can we leverage AI tools and AI processes to build that team out without adding more people to it. And just the opportunities and the things that you can do with it. It's mind blowing, but it's also kind of scary in a way too, and confusing, and I think it's taking a lot of work.
Yeah, and I almost feel like maybe I'm living in a dreamland, but I almost feel like it is a little bit easier to start with little or nothing. Maybe not little budget, but less headcount, where you're kind of reinventing or building a team with AI first. So what is the challenge really as you think about this team that's trying to build it out, where is the challenge set of starting with very little and trying to grow with AI versus maybe a team that's larger and trying to figure out how to incorporate AI?
I think it's because you don't know how to start, and you don't know. I think what did this say? They say you don't know what you don't know, kind of thing.
Mhm,
And
mhm,
there is so much about AI that you can
mhm,
pick and choose from. And if you're not always learning and looking and reading and educating yourself, you don't know where to start.
mhm.
But that's hard to do when you're also doing a full-time marketing job at the same time.
Almost like they aren't exactly sure what to invest in because they need to deliver outcomes, and there's no proven, like, if you use this AI tool it will deliver X pipeline, so they
Yeah.
don't have the resource to do the testing,
Yeah.
essentially.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think the first thing everybody wants to do is use it for writing and content
Yeah.
development. And I'm not opposed to that, but I don't think that's where you should start. I think that's just a piece of a smaller piece of the puzzle.
Well, and actually, funnily enough, I had a content marketer tell me that she's worried that AI is going to replace her. Um, and I totally get it. I mean, I certainly think some of these tools do a really great job writing. But from a strategic and a creative standpoint, what I'm seeing is kind of the opposite, that it does a good surface level job. But when you really want to get in and build out unique differentiation, storytelling, even especially graphic design, that AI is not replacing the job, it's evolving it. What are you hearing? What impacts are having? I mean, you write a ton and you're an incredible writer yourself. So
Thank you.
how are you seeing how AI really is impacting this role?
I think the writers are definitely getting scared because AI is getting better and better at writing content. And even when you're writing as a natural writer, which is what I do for a lot of my work, I've had people edit it and say it sounds like AI and to rewrite it. And it's like, I've already written it the way I write it. Like, how am I not supposed to sound like an AI? So the AI is getting better. And I think there are people who are scared of losing their jobs, and I think they have a right to be scared because there are companies that are getting rid of people and they are saying AI can do a good job, and it can, and they will get rid of people. But I think the smarter companies are the ones that are saying AI is an enabler and an empowerer, and we need to figure out how to make this person better at their job, leveraging AI tools. There is a big gap in between the companies on either side of that.
Yeah, and it actually makes sense that your writing would sound like AI because AI is trained by content that's available online, and the amount of content that you have created that is online, you probably have done a lot of LLM training unintentionally.
Could be. Well, and I mean, everybody's fighting over that M dash, and I'm like, I never use the M dash a lot because I'm not that kind of a writer, but I use a dash. I'm curious to know from your perspective, Amanda, are you eliminating roles in your marketing group?
Yeah, so I'll answer this both ways. I would say yes, we're eliminating roles and we're creating new ones. So what is important to note is that we're not removing human beings from employment. We're actually creating different expectations for those roles. And I mean, we have an incredible content marketing team, and the amount of content that they've been able to generate, but also the amount of insights that they've been able to gather on what our competitors are doing, what trending keywords are happening, what questions are dominating LLMs, and then respond to that with highly informed content. It has just been exponentially transformed. And some of our writers, they tell incredibly personal stories. They share who they are on social. One of the things I love about our newsletter, honestly, is this part where they talk about the books they're reading, the movies they're watching, their favorite foods, and those kinds of things, because we want to connect with humans. And so I think we're creating the time, space, and energy for exponentially greater amounts of scale that then also create time and space for human beings, human connection.
Yeah. I think the opportunity to be more of yourself and to bring more of the business kind of narrative to the forefront is a great opportunity, and it is something that AI has not yet been able to do.
Yeah, and as we think about AI and jobs and as they're changing and developing, what are you seeing show up in job descriptions as we talk about new roles being created? What's showing up in job descriptions or in resumes that maybe didn't 2 or 3 years ago?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. When ChatGPT first came out, everybody was like, "You have to be a prompt engineer." And
Yes.
then everybody said, "You don't have to be a prompt engineer." But now everybody's asking you to be a prompt engineer because you have to train your AI to think and talk and write like you. So you do have to be really good at prompting and prompting the AI to work the right.
Mm,
So that's still a big skill that they're looking for in marketing and in other areas like sales and stuff. The other thing they're wanting you to know is, how does AI actually help you? Like, where
mm,
are you using it today? Like, how are you personally using it? How can you bring in, what do you bring to the table with AI to make your job better?
mm,
So you need to know that. If you're sitting out there saying, I don't need to know AI, or I'll join a company and they'll teach me, you probably won't get hired because they want
mm,
you to know it before they bring you on board so that you're not starting from scratch. And then one of the other ones that excites me the most is that they want to know not just how you use AI to write, but they want to know how you use AI to build workflows.
mhm.
So, how does your process improve? How do you change your processes and leverage AI to do something better or faster or more in depth than you could have done if you were just working on your own?
Yeah. Yeah, and that's I think that's been part of the fun of this whole process has been the rate at which the tech has gotten better. So prompt engineering as an example, you had to be really good at writing prompts. Now you can just ask AI to write the prompt for you.
Yeah.
It's getting great at helping to prompt itself. And then even, Claude Skills, I think is another one that we've seen become very popular. If there's a task that you're doing multiple times, you can teach Claude to do it. It does make me wonder what's going to happen in the next year when we just think about the speed of change and how much transformation is happening of resumes, skill sets, requirements when hiring. What is that even going to look like in a year? But
Are you and my question for you would be, are you hiring people that are very specific in roles now, or are you looking for people that are more generalists, and are you just making people do AI, or do you have separate people that are specializing in AI in your groups? Like, how are you organizing it in your team?
yeah, we do have specialists in AI, but I do highly encourage everyone on our teams to get really curious and in using AI. I do think AI is going to be like a phone or a computer. I think it's just going to be a thing. It's not going to be
Yeah.
the thing. It will be a thing. And I do think that though it's allowing people who are specialists to have a broader set of impact across more areas because AI can do more things for them. So I think, if anything, my approach to hiring has always been hire weird, hire unconventional, hire people with resumes that are a little funky because I think those people have overcome. They have grit, they have determination, they have curiosity. And so that is still my hiring approach. But we do have AI specialist roles, and everyone in our team in some form or fashion uses AI as well.
Yeah. So that's kind of the right mix, right?
I mean, I hope.
Yeah.
We'll
I
definitely
think it
see.
is. I think it is.
Uh,
I think marketers need to know AI, but I think that you also need people in the company who's almost like it's their full-time job to learn
yes.
and study and play with it and test it and figure out we should try this for our business because we could do this with it. I think you can't do that if you're as a full-time job. If a marketer can't do that as a full-time job, they need to do the stuff, but you need someone else who's always kind of thinking about the innovation part for you.
Yeah, totally. And on that, are there patterns like this that you're seeing emerge where people are building teams like this, or are there other, I guess, are there other patterns that you're seeing that are really winning for teams in leveraging AI?
Yeah, these are the 2 that I've seen. I actually had a really good conversation with someone from a company that they actually built a whole AI team, and he's, like, head of the innovation for AI. I can't remember his exact title, and he was responsible for or he is responsible for figuring out what are the use cases that we need to start to enable first, and how do we do that, and how do we get people to adopt it. He was huge. Adoption was a huge thing for him. And I think that those people, you need those teams if you're really not sure what you want to do with AI, because they can bring more stuff to the table, more ideas, and do more testing. And they'll actually listen to the business side of it. So it's not just, it's a technology. It's a technology like any other technology in my mind. It's just coming faster and harder, and it's hard to keep up with it. But people like that are able to do that, and they're able to translate it into the business and make things happen.
Yeah, and that, I mean, that kinda takes us into the next topic, not just about how teams are changing, but really the role of the CMO. I've seen a ton of stats that CMOs are in many companies leading the AI revolution. I certainly
Mm.
have my own perspective on why that is, but what what are you seeing about the CMO role and how that's transforming as much as the marketing organization itself maybe?
I think the CMOs are kind of interesting. I always thought, or I always kind of understood the CMOs kind of up here and they just delegate most of their work, right? But most of the CMOs that I've been talking to lately are actually diving into the AI and trying to figure it out. And one of the CMOs I talked to, she said to me, everything I do, the first question I ask myself is, can I do this with AI? And I
Yeah.
thought that's a really interesting perspective and a way to think. And when CMOs are becoming more and more responsible for pipeline and revenue. And I mean, they always were, but it's being more important now. Figuring out how AI can help them is, I think, really critical for them to do, as opposed to just asking their VPs or whoever's kind of 1 or 2 ladders down, rungs down the ladder to help them out.
Yeah, and I mean, personally, I have always taken a very serious, level of ownership to pipeline at any company I've been at. And what I've seen is actually the ownership of the customer has become even more important in the
Mm.
CMO land, because as we think about AI and training and really, like, building models that help us find the next best customer or that message or create content, like, making sure that we understand, we capture, we have that information, we also have, like, our own anecdotal relationships, interactions, Q&As with customers in order to inform a strategy that now hopefully will be scaled in some kind of automated way, has become a significantly bigger expectation of the CMO than before. But this is the only CMO job I've ever had, so maybe I just am missing it.
No, but, I mean, we used to have that chief digital officer, right? I
Yeah.
mean, well, some people had, or chief customer officer, sorry, is what I'm trying to say. Some companies have that, but most of the people that I've seen, or the companies that I've looked at, they don't look at that customer holistically, and they
Mhm.
still separate it out by departments. And I think that the CMO can take on that role and
Mhm.
do that, but they have to be enabled by the other departments too. I think that's probably a big challenge still for many. You might be lucky in that respect.
I don't know, I think people try to keep me out of everything. But,
Yeah.
what do you think the disconnect is there when you say that's really interesting, when you say the CMO, or and as we're talking to marketers, the marketer could help more with that end-to-end view of the customer and driving that insights in the company, but you may struggle with other departments. What do you think that conflict is?
I think we're still I think companies are still very siloed. You know, sales wants the customer, marketing wants the customer service and support, they want the customer. And the data is still siloed, which is probably the biggest challenge. But then getting all of those people in a room and getting them to agree on who that customer is. And I guess that's why they create go to market teams, because
Mhm.
they are cross divisional. But I think that's something that's really just starting to take hold. And it depends, I think, also on the size of the company and how old the company is. Younger companies are more cross organizational from the start, as opposed to bigger enterprises that they like their silos and they're happy with their silos.
It could also be I've heard the old adage many times that CMOs they have their crayons and their coloring books, and they like to do all the branding stuff, and so they're not really true business partners, and I hope that a lot of CMOs have made a dent in that persona.
Yeah, but brand is still really important too. Is that something like, are you still focusing very much on brand and creative? Or are you shifting more towards marketing operations and technology? Like, how are you balancing that out?
Yeah, I have a performance marketing background, and so I definitely lean towards the technology side, and from an AI perspective, I actually think that it, for the most part, will be able to do a large percent of digital marketing, and so I do very strongly believe that where differentiation is gonna come in the future, and this is, again, not rocket science, this is what everybody's saying, will be in the brand. But I think this goes back to your earlier comment that the brand is the customer experience. It's not the colors and the logo and those things,
Yeah.
though I do think we have a beautiful brand. It is what customers say about your product, and does your company do what the tin, as our UK friends say, what it says on the tin. And that, I think, is where the CMO really beginning to own and understand that customer relationship and winning with a brand are the same thing in the AI future.
Do you
So,
think Sorry, I
yeah,
was
go
just gonna
ahead.
ask, when you're evaluated by your CEO then, is that how he or she, I'm not sure, it's a he in your case, is
Yeah.
evaluating you? Or is there have the metrics, the performance metrics for the CMO changed?
Yeah, no, they have not. The metrics are still pipeline, but what I would say is, I do think that as a CMO, as an executive, that you have the opportunity to own that bigger outcome and connect how it ties to your, let's say, smaller metrics. Pipeline is a quarterly metric usually. But I could totally see how I could tie the customer and our customers believing in our product and helping us, generate referrals or speaking at conferences for us or introducing us into their networks is actually a catalyst for me achieving my what we would say is a short-term metric. But I do agree with you that it's something interesting to dig into is where when there's shared ownership across the company, how does one executive get empowered to actually influence a change in the business? I think maybe
Mm,
that's where we could put a little bit more work in.
yeah, and I think the CEO has a really big job in making that happen. So
Yeah.
they have to be a really good
Uh,
CEO to do that.
I'll send him this recording. I'll be like, "Raj."
So, okay, so here's a question for you. We talked on this from the CMO level, but let's go entry level. A
Yeah.
lot of people are worried, is there an entry level story for marketing today? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I have 3 college kids who
Mm.
are all graduating next year, and I am very worried about this as a mother, and as a CMO, I am concerned about the talent that comes in, the next generation. How do we actually bring in and train and create the marketers of the future? That said, there are opportunities, but they are changing, and I do think the availability of roles is declining, and that does concern me.
I think, at least, so I'm from Canada. I'm not sure if the US has a different story. I think the universities are really falling down on this. So I mean, all three of my kids are really great writers, but I would never encourage them to go into marketing because I think the schools are not teaching them how to leverage AI to
Yeah,
do their work. I think you have to be taught without it, but then you have to be taught with it, because when you go to these jobs, they're wanting to know that you know AI right away.
yeah,
And that's what they're looking for, those people. So these young kids coming out of school saying, I want to be a marketer, but they can't get the job because they don't know how to leverage AI in their tools.
yeah.
So that's the thing that worries me the most about the kids.
And we're seeing a significant increase in that gap because of the speed of AI. So I think education itself has a lot of transformation that it needs to experience. I think that advice that you just gave is right though. You go to college for the experience, for the connection, for the maturation, if that's a word. I don't know. I didn't graduate, like I said. But you don't go to be job ready. You still need to invest in that yourself, which means networking, which means doing internships, which means building relationships, being curious and open and ready to learn. And I don't think that is different in the AI world.
So when you step back from all of this, all the AI noise, all the AI's content slop, the new channels, the hype cycles, like what do you think marketers really need to be more disciplined about right now?
It's always about objectives. What is the objective? What do I need to do? What needle do I need to move in the business? And think I'll harken back to our earlier conversation on the customer. If you're super, super focused on the problem that you're solving and you're able to very clearly communicate how you uniquely solve that problem, you will win in marketing.
I like that. And that is something that I've been writing about a lot lately is that we really need to stop thinking that AI is the answer to everything and get back to really understanding who our customers are and telling the stories about our company that help the customer with whatever challenges they're trying to overcome or things they're trying to do. I think we're getting too wrapped up in I need to just get AI and it's going to answer all my questions for me, especially when
That's
you get all
right.
those tech bros on LinkedIn.
And it doesn't, one of the things I love is, I mean, we at Bloomreach, we are an AI company, we sell AI solutions, and so we certainly are drinking the Kool-Aid, but one of the things that's super important to us is that it's not just a pretty deck, it doesn't just demo well, it's not just a marketer, like, having a conversation and writing a report that they
Yeah.
used to do manually. It actually is moving the needle on our customers' outcomes are driving revenue. And our CEO, Raj, says our expectation for our product development is that we deliver consequential AI, which is significant lift in an outcome. In this case, revenue for our customers. So I think that at the end of the day, whatever tools you need to use, even if it's carrier pigeons, your job is to drive outcomes for your business, and that has not changed.
Yep. And I would love to work for a company that had a product and looked at their product that way and built their product that way and then do marketing for them. That would be like one of my dream
Oh
jobs.
man, Bloomreach got to hire you then. So what do you find on this thread? What do you find then to be overhyped? Where AI is not delivering outcomes, it's really just kind of, I don't know, vaporware or just kind of looks cool, but it's not really delivering outcomes.
Well, I think I could say all of AI tools are kind of like that, but that's because they're not connected back to real data, to real
Uh-huh.
things that are happening with the customer, right? Like you can buy intent tools that leverage AI scoring and stuff that tell you these are the people you should go to, but half the time they aren't the right people because you haven't defined your customer right and you don't
Yeah.
know and you're looking at the wrong people. So I really do think AI is critical to use. It has huge opportunity, but if you don't have all that foundation in place, all of that stuff is just overhyped and it's not going to work. And I don't think we need every little AI tool that comes out. And I don't necessarily believe that every technology provider has to have a crazy AI story. It could be something that's kind of under in the framework of the platform and it's not something you can say this is what it does. It's just there and it works the way you want it to. So I think we're gone a little too crazy on AI.
Yeah, and one of the things our team and you and I spoke over a year ago about our AI transformation, and I was pretty excited with some of the stats that we were seeing, and one of the things that I've been struggling with recently is like the optimization will only get you so far, and this is the history of marketing, right? Like you optimize something as much as it can be, and then what? And so it does come back down to the creative ways, the new channels, the new stories, the better moments of connection. But what we consistently see perform well are when our customers are talking, because who honestly wants to hear from the technology vendor? Nobody. And when they have real stories of actual business impact that they've been able to deliver, it's not the AI tool. People
Yeah.
are not excited about this AI feature, whatever, whatever. They care that it delivered some revenue for our customer. So totally
Yeah.
agree with you.
Yeah. And then from a marketing kind of operation side, Chris Ross, I think it is, from Gartner, he's an analyst from
Huh.
Gartner. He was saying on LinkedIn today that it's the new things that are going to happen, and it's probably a ways out because marketing isn't really ready for it, is it's not just slapping AI on your current processes and workflows. It's actually really rethinking how marketing works and how marketing happens.
Absolutely.
That excites me. Just the thought of what can we do different? Like, drop the old playbooks. Let's stop trying to
Awesome.
AI the boring old playbooks. What can you do different now? And that excites me a lot.
Yeah, and that reinvention is hard because, to your earlier point, it's not an individual who's going to be reinventing themselves. It's a collective, like the team,
Yeah.
the whole process, the way that the work actually gets done has to be reinvented. And that can be scary because it does
Hmm.
mean a job that used to exist probably won't anymore. And so
Yeah.
the opportunity becomes, how do I create a new role for myself, or how does the CMO or the manager of the team have the vision to create what that future role might need to be?
Yeah. So if you are a marketer out there and you're listening and you're trying to figure out what do I do next? What makes sense? What would you say?
I think it's not new. It's get really curious. Get a bigger purview of what's happening. If you're a marketer of one, connect into other areas of the business, understand support, understand onboarding, understand maybe the SDR and sales processes if you're in B2B. If you're on the B2C side, what's product development look like? Like really connect into other areas of the business. If you're part of a larger team, this is the opportunity to really connect into the other areas of marketing because again, like what your value can be is how do I automate myself out of a job because you will find a way to create a new role for yourself. I strongly believe that.
And I think that's exciting for marketing.
I do too.
Yeah. Okay, so let's bring it home. What is your advice for CMOs who are really under pressure and they just don't know where to start?
Ooh, well, I mean, I feel like CMOs are used to being under pressure. I think so. The conversations that I have with CMOs are often, how do I justify the time that it will take to do the testing and the trials and the failure basically of AI while also still having to deliver the goals and KPIs that I have? And ultimately, my very terrible answer is you just have to do it. You
Hmm.
have to create the space for testing and trial and failure. You have to navigate delivering on your results and your KPIs and trying new things. And that's even more of an imperative now with AI. So, Barb, to you, this is happening very, very fast.
Hmm.
And we've talked about a lot of different ways in which transformation is occurring. What are you actually seeing in reality with the speed of transformation of teams and the CMO role and the customer experience?
I think it's going a lot slower than maybe some people think it should or they want to. They want it to, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think yeah, we need to get on to AI. We need to understand our customers better, but that requires you to really step back and pay attention to what's going on with your customers and stop pretending you know just
Right.
because you think you know what it is. And I think that once we step back and we think about it, everything else I think will start to kind of fall into place, and I think things will pick up faster and we'll be able to move faster. That's that's kind of how I would look at it.
I totally agree. If there's one thing that I hope marketers take away from this episode, it's that this is not a moment to panic or be worried or rush or have anxiety, although maybe a little bit of all of that is still good. The tools are changing fast and technology is definitely changing quickly, but good marketing is still about judgment, creativity, and as we've talked about, really understanding the customer. Those will always be our fundamentals, and they're showing up in new ways. Thanks for joining us for Bloomreach's Marketers on Marketers. Until next time.